Mayor Aaron, you have waited long enough. You need to get off your butt and review the new Alundra Blayze retro.
I think I'm good over here. This retro line reminds me too much of the Hasbros. That's not a good thing.
I know the Hasbro line didn't make any women. Is that why?
That's not exactly the whole reason why. Listen, I don't like to talk about this, but just for this one time, I'll open up to you so you kind of understand where I'm coming from, okay? See, it was my 7th birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese of all places. I was opening up all my presents for my friends and my family. I got some Play-Doh, I got a Power Ranger toy, and then I pulled back the paper, and that's when I saw it. The most terrifying WWE Hasbro I could have ever imagined.
Giant Gonzalez?
No. Doink!
What's so scary about Doink?
He's a clown! I hate clowns! In fact, that night, I threw that thing away in the dumpster and I never saw him again. But every time I review one of these retros, it just makes me think about that Hasbro. And to be honest, with Jilloween fast approaching, I'm a little timid.
Wow. Okay, well that's in the past. The big scary Doink figure has been gone for many years. Just open the Alundra.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know what? My buddy Craig sent me this figure, so I'm gonna open this thing up and quit being a little pansy. That's what they say. They say, Mayor Aaron, quit being a little pansy, right? That's what everyone says. All right. Let's dive in. Let's see here. Oh, that's weird. I think she fell off of her carding. Huh. Co-Mayor Alexa, did you see that?
See the Alundra Blayze figure you freaked out over? Yep, I definitely witnessed that.
Frick no! It was Doink! Doink was in here! The same Doink that I had! Look! What? What the? What? Frick! I need therapy. Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now, please tell me you saw what I saw. I don't think I'm going crazy here, right? Either way, when I dug in the package, I actually found the carding, and that's the cool thing about this figure, is the carding is easily removable, so you really don't have to open anything up. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going crazy. I don't know if I can make it through this. Okay. Alright. Okay. Welcome to LumberJillville. Make sure to subscribe to get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews. Now today, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the brand new Alundra Blayze Retro. I'm also going to compare it to the Wendy Richter and the China, the other females that we had released in the line so far. And I'm also going to take a look at the Elite Alundra Blayze figure that came out years ago just because, hey, this is a good opportunity to talk about it. So without further ado, let's take a look at this retro figure starting with the carding. So the carding is cool in the sense that it is very reminiscent of the old WWF Hasbro line. However, there's some things I really don't like about it. I don't like that it's the resealable packaging, and I'll show you exactly what I mean and how it works. I wish it was kind of like the old school WWF Hasbros where they have the bubble that's glued to the card and you have to peel it off to open it up. I want to go through those feelings that all those kids had when they were growing up opening up Hasbros. I want that same feeling here, opening up a quote-unquote Hasbro and taking out a women's figure. I think that would be super cool, but instead we have this resealable packaging. I'm not sure how the collecting community feels about it. Let me know in the comments if you like it. If you don't, I'm not a huge fan, honestly, just because I like that retro effect of opening up a figure, right? So, looking at the carding here, we can see the WWE Classic logo, which is modeled after the old WWF logo. Obviously, it's missing the F. And we have an image of Alundra Blayze, and we have authentic superstar moves. And hers is called the Blazing Uppercut, even though it's the same exact move that we got on Chyna and Wendy Richter, which I'll compare to later in the video. And we have the figure packaged nicely in there. On the back, we have the rest of this wave, Shawn Michaels, we have the British Bulldog, and Isaac Yankem. And then, okay, we have the action here, and it tells us exactly how to do it, so we'll try that out. We have this cool little cutout card of Alundra Blayze. Now, she is a pioneer of women's wrestling, and so far the choices that they've made for the women's retros has been awesome. And upcoming, we have Miss Elizabeth and Sherry, and those two are must-haves. And it looks like they have a couple new parts in their bodies, which is great. And yeah, at this point, there are some women I'd love to see in the retro line, but they're really knocking out the big names that deserve it. And I think that's great. So opening this up, as I mentioned, it's a resealable package here. So I think it used to have tape holding it down, but now it just has this little plastic tab that actually is perforated. I don't know if that is to make it easy to bend or if you could just cut it. But you peel that back and the cardboard slides up like that, and then the figure comes out. Then we have this plastic sheet here, which I'm going to get rid of. So, yeah, it looks good. It looks really good when you take it out. But like I said, I wish this figure was connected to this card with a plastic bubble glued on there, somehow adhered to it, so that you could really get that retro effect, right? But yeah, so it's a hit or a miss. It depends on what you like in your carding and your packaging. I'm going to display this figure loose, so that's what we're going to do. Now, let's take a closer look at this figure. All right, so this Alundra Blayze figure is really cool, and I'll compare it to her Elite that came out. There are some differences. It's not just a copied and pasted head. There are some little changes they made to make it a little more cartoony, and I think it fits really nice. I think this is an awesome retro. It actually might be my favorite of the three between Wendy Richter and Chyna. I really love this Alundra here. Now, zooming in on the face, as I mentioned, it's a little cartoony to kind of fit that style, that Hasbro style. I like that hair sculpt a lot. It's just one blonde color, but it works really well. As far as the attire goes, there is some sculpting. It's hard to see. There's sculpting on the chest a little bit. There you can kind of see it from that angle. It goes down. And obviously, what really stands out is the attire, the paint application of the attire. These gauntlets on the forearm are painted with great detail, a white base with some red flames, and also this pattern on the side. Same thing on the right. And this bodysuit that she would wrestle in has white on the top, going down into yellow flames, going down into orange, going down into red flames with Blayze across the chest. And on the back, we even have Alundra on the back side there. And it does extend down a little bit to signify the type of attire that she did wear when she wrestled, like a bodysuit type thing, but it kind of went down her legs a little bit. It was really cool. They did a great job here. And then moving down, as you can see, there's like a little line at the knee. Now, it's not a joint, but I think she has new feet and boot sculpts that we didn't get on the Chyna and the Wendy. So we'll definitely do a comparison here. We'll do that next before we look at the Elite. But yeah, it looks like they gave her a couple new parts. That's good to see some new parts being introduced. I was worried they were just going to keep reusing the same parts, same body sculpt, same action for all the women, and that was going to get a little tiring. Now, I will say this figure does not stand whatsoever. She does have peg holes, so you can put a little figure stand there. And maybe if you pull her arm back, yeah, she stands okay, but hey, warning, this is a figure that if you put on the shelves next to others, it might fall over and knock them all over. Now, with that being said, let's go through the action without hitting the camera. So, okay, the action says you pull arm down and back. Okay, pulling it down and back, and then she does a fiery uppercut. Okay, you ready? Oh, here. So it does click when you move it. That's just part of the mechanism there. Okay, so you kind of want to start it here. So you go back. Oh, boy. Okay, go back. Ready for the fiery uppercut? Here we go. Boom! That was actually so quick it actually didn't show up too well on camera. Yeah, she does a fiery uppercut. That could do some damage to other figures. So yeah, this is a cool retro. It might be my favorite of the three, like I said, but let's bring out those other two women that we've gotten so far in the WWE retro line and check them out. All right, so these are the 3 women WWE retros that we have had released so far from Mattel Creations. And actually, the China was a ringside exclusive 2-pack that came with Triple H. But either way, here are the women that we have. And these are great choices for the retro line. And as I mentioned, Miss Elizabeth and Sherry coming out are just cherries on top of the retro Sunday. I think that's great. Awesome choices. And yeah, I think all 3 of these aesthetically look so different, but really do stand out and pop. Just like if you grab 3 of the WWF Hasbros and put them next to each other, they're all so different and varied. And my only complaint with having these all next to each other is you can tell right away that they all kind of have the same body. Now I say kind of because it does appear that Alundra has new boots. So yeah, it appears that the arms, are the arms the same across the board? Might be a little bit different, but the arms are very similar. The midsection piece is very similar, if not... Yeah, okay, they're a little different. You can see some extra sculpting between the chest of Alundra, maybe? There's some minor details. Now, I could sit here and stare at this. It looks like her waist is a little thinner than Chyna's. It is really hard for me to tell y'all. Yeah, just comparing these, they do all look basically the same. There might be some minor tweaks, minor differences between the 3 as far as the body part choices go, but the main thing that stands out to me is the boots. So with Wendy and Chyna, we had this boot sculpt there. As you can see, it's got a little lip on the top of the boot. And here on the Alundra, there's no lip whatsoever. The boot is just kind of painted over the skin, which is fine. So that is a different piece from the knee down. And it's a little longer. Maybe to signify her height being a little taller, I guess, than Wendy, let's say. Even though, yeah, she's a little taller than Wendy. So yeah, that appears to be a new part from the knee down. But everything else appears to be very same. And like I said, there might be some minor differences, but it's very hard to tell. And yes, they all have that same uppercut twisting motion, and that's fine because, hey, that's what Hasbro's did. Hasbro's reused a lot of the actions amongst the board. Now, I do want to see new actions introduced very soon. Now, I'm not sure what the Miss Elizabeth and the Sherry Martel, what their actions are going to be, but they do have at least what appears to be different arms, Miss Elizabeth's and heels. So I'm real excited to get those and compare those to these and see if maybe they have different actions. Because yeah, as it stands here, these are all very similar as far as the feature goes, the action feature, and also the sculpts. But there are minor differences. Now, which one do I like the best? Definitely Alundra. I think Alundra is the most appealing in my opinion, but I really do like that Wendy as well. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the Alundra Blayze Elite. So this was Alundra Blayze's first and only Elite so far, and it was released in the Flashback Elite Series 2 all the way back in 2017. Now this was one of the first, I want to say one of my first 10 women's wrestling figures. I saw this on the shelves. The packaging was awesome. The Flashback packaging was cool. She came with half of Shawn Michaels' heart bed, which definitely was a neat accessory. And the figure itself really does stand out. It really pops. And it's really cool that we did get an Elite of her. Hopefully we get more in the future. But yeah, this figure is definitely cool. It's from her look from the 1994 SummerSlam pay-per-view, where she actually defeated Bull Nakano to retain the WWF Women's Championship. And as you can see, the accessory she comes with is this really cool WWF Women's Championship. Now, what's cool about it is it's scaled down to be more realistic to the size of the actual title. And that's something that it took a long time for the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships to have modified to them. And this is all the way back in 2017. So in 2017, we did have a female-sized championship belt, and it was right here with this Alundra Blayze figure. Now, it took a while, but eventually did get the WWE Women's SmackDown and Raw championships in smaller, more female-sized scale. But this one was definitely cool, and it is a really cool championship belt here. So it's got a pink strap, and if you zoom in, we'll try to get the details. You zoom in, it has the WWE logo, Women's Wrestling Champion. Got some other sculpted details there, and it's a great accessory. This might be the only time we've had this championship in particular released in this pink strap fashion. And yeah, it's a very valuable piece to have if you're a women's wrestling figure collector. Now, as far as the figure goes, as you can see, that face scan and sculpt is very similar to the retro, which I'll pull up here. But the retro is just a little more cartoony, a little more filled out to kind of fit that style. The hair sculpt does look very similar, but once again, it's painted in kind of a dirty blonde type color to make it look a lot more realistic. She has bright red lips, looks like blue eyes, and yeah, I think this was before TrueFX face scan technology. This was all the way back in 2017, but I think they did a pretty good job here with the face sculpt and the paint application of the face. I think it looks awesome. As far as the body sculpt goes, yes. We have the Victoria Secret Body Paint belly button that drives me nuts. It should not be there. Should be smoothed over. But once again, this is all the way back in 2017 when this was a pretty common occurrence in women's wrestling figures. But the attire itself does look cool, even though it is just painted on. Her gauntlets are kind of a muted type red with white and then a bright red flame design on the bottom. And then her bodysuit that kind of goes up her neck a little bit is all just painted on, goes down to her legs. But it's painted nice. We have that white going into yellow, going into orange, going into red flames. Looks really cool. We have Alundra on the back side. And then moving on down to the boots, we have once again that muted red on the kick pads. And then we have white on the side with red flame designs. And there's even like a muted orange on the bottom that looks really cool. So yeah, this Elite is cool. I have a Legends women's shelf. And she's front and center. I mean, I love this figure. I think it's excellent. And I really do hope we get more Alundra Blayze figures. And by the way, how have we not gotten a Medusa in the Monday Night Wars line? She started the Monday Night Wars. I mean, debatable, but in my opinion, she really did fire it up by dropping the WWF Women's Championship in the trash on live WCW Nitro television. So why have we not gotten that figure in the Monday Night Wars line? I don't know. I don't know if she still has a Legends contract with them or whatever. But either way, that should have been a home run hit that they did not release. So as it stands, I really do like this Elite. I think it's a very cool figure, and I highly suggest you go out and buy it. And make sure when you do, if you get it loose, that it does come with this championship title, because this thing is beautiful. So here is my Legends shelf. I don't know if I've ever really showed it on the channel with a lot of Legends figures. Now, I will do a collection tour update soon. I haven't done it in, I want to say, like 2 years, so I would love to show you all the figures in my collection, how I have them displayed. So look for that. Maybe in October, but either way, I think this Alundra looks great. I do have her arm kind of pulled back because she doesn't balance. The China and the Wendy Richter stand pretty good. They actually are very stable. But this Alundra does not stand. At least mine doesn't. So I have to put her mechanical arm kind of twisted behind her. But whatever. I think it looks great on display. And actually, I was looking. And Wendy Richter does come with that little smaller scale WWF Women's Championship. But it does have a black strap. So the plates look to be the same. But it has a black strap compared to the Alundra pink strap. So yeah, I'm not going to give an overall score for the Alundra Blayze Retro. I really don't give scores to the retros because even though they're cool, there's not a whole lot of different aspects to take into effect when I'm giving it a score. So all I can say is if you're a women's wrestling figure collector and you had any nostalgia for Hasbro's whatsoever, I would definitely go out, try to get the China, try to get the Wendy, and try to get the Alundra because they do look nice displayed together. As you can see with China, Wendy, and Alundra here. So I would try to get all three. Now, Mattel Creations might still have them up, and if they don't, definitely check on eBay. You can get them all at a pretty affordable price, and it's definitely worth it because it's cool to have females that are Hasbro inspired to be on your shelf. You know, it's something I never thought we'd really get. To have them officially released by WWE is awesome. Now, with that being said, I appreciate you watching today. Thank you for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's Wrestling lives here. To get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Now, stay tuned. There are tons, and I mean absolutely tons, of women's wrestling figures on pre-order from Ringside Collectibles that should start coming by the end of the month. By the end of the month, all through October, it's going to be epic. There's going to be tons of women's wrestling figure reviews coming out in LumberJillville, and I'm really excited to share with you that. Now, with that being said, I need to go talk to a counselor about what I just saw earlier. I saw a doink, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that was doink. Maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know.